And again, welcome back to InstantInfra. My name's Oscar. I'm gonna be your host. Yes, Stevie. So in the introduction video, I spawned the wheel and I got AWS, and then in the deployments, I got a storage bucket, a simple S3 bucket. So that's what we're gonna do today. So I expect this video to be fairly quickly. I'm gonna try to do it within 10 minutes. So before putting myself, timer and jumping into it, let me just say that usually the way you can go and look at the rules of the game that I'm gonna play against myself, but I usually just as a reminder, I go and consult the documentation. That's what all engineers or developers, everyone does, from the official HashiCorp Terraform registry, or you can do the same thing for the OpenTofu registry. I think it's essentially a mirror of the HashiCorp provider. You can have many such providers for different deployments, but in this case, I'm going to use the one for AWS. And if you go to AWS, you can look for the resource S3 bucket. Especially something about AWS, there's a honorable mention. Right now, I'm just going to use a simple S3 bucket to deploy a simple bucket, just to play with it. But there's a fantastic library or set of repos called Terraform AWS modules by Mr. Anton Babenko. Hope I didn't butcher his name. It's a great resource. And in here you can find a module for an S3 bucket, which can have many different configurations. Very, very complete. And this is, I would think, the industry standard. Everyone uses those. So consider sponsoring them or contribute to. But for the sake of this video, without further ado, let's just go and jump and deploy the S3 bucket. So very simple. All we have to define is the resource. So cool. So for the timer, this repository and the code that you can find might not have the best practices, but again, this channel is focused on having fun and making things as fast as possible. So just take whatever you find in that repo with a grain of salt. But you're gonna find, by the way, this code in my GitHub, which is gonna be linked below. Cool. Now let's jump into it. Cool. Timer 10 minutes. Starting 3, 2, 1 now. Cool. So I'm gonna create a folder with S3 buckets, and in that folder I'm gonna create main TF. TF. Visually, there's a way to create different multiple files at once. I've put TF. Just very simple. And if you saw the previous video that I did, all that I had about configuring AWS account, all that I have to do is literally define in the Terraform block the required providers and the provider that I wanna. So I'm gonna literally copy this. Then do resource. Let's go install per. And in the name, we are going to use here I would say so this is the variables that are going to feed into this. So let's actually call this a prefix for variable. Brief. I'm just typing everything out. I don't have it auto completion or site syntax highlighting. I'm not sure why. Is the new setup. So that's I'll figure out what goes. So if we go to the documentation, we can see that the resource to be the resource type AWS 3 bucket, and I'm just gonna call it InstantInfra bucket. And in the buckets, let's say I wanna prefix var prefix and that should be it. Let's put a type thing. But that shit just doesn't matter. Maybe I'll standardize as the time goes. Again, the whole idea of this challenge to learn best practices and to get very good at the time being. Let's leave it as this. And now let's go to clouds, AWS, S3 the bucket, transform formats, block dimension or set up and block controls. I did. Yeah. Okay. And then tf init, as always, we need to install the provider. 4 minutes into it. This row, let's see. Let's see if the first line goes through. See? Hard. Then skip the timer. There we go. Cool. Now, in shoot work. No plan. Yeah, I'm not using any bucket, so my plan is going to be created immediately. Yes, I'm going to apply buckets. And that's it. See? What page? Record buckets. Am I? Yes. That's it. Camera on. Camera. Cool. That was more or less 5 minutes. Told you it was gonna be very fast. Obviously this bucket is private. It's not really configured. There's a lot of things that you can put in place to actually, whatever whatever you need and you desire for this bucket, you have action can configure it and predict here. Maybe not just use a resource, but a module that kind of configure policies and can configure if it's a bucket that will host a website. I don't know. There's a lot of things that you can play around and start to look at. This
permissions and metrics and properties
and a bunch of things that you have at your disposal. But for the time being, I can start using Bucket.
And that was it. Yeah, I don't think I need an output. Well, that's it. Cool. So I guess that leaves us. We can tick off that. Project that I had here.
Fixing things with Claude. So we can take that AWS storage rocket. That's true.
And now is to this. Cool. So go.
It's not ticked, but this is what happens with Vive Code things. Cool. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop the video and spin again. So that section of the video can be the introduction to the next one. But before I do that, and very important, I have to clean up, because if I leave this bucket, it's gonna start charging me. So we're gonna go and destroy. Yeah, very very important. Sorry, I was skipping to the next thing, but we have to clean up. Otherwise, I'm gonna get charged with whatever, like those projects that I leave open. Cool. That's it. Done, check.
Done.
So always clean up after you. Cool. Rest up the video. Start again.
Cool. So now we're going to spin the wheel and see what we get for the next video. That's exactly why I leave it at the end of one of these challenges, and to, like, in case I get something mildly complex, I have time to research and read the documentation before actually I jump into it. So let's spin the wheel. Ooh, hopefully not Azure, because I said it at the intro, I've never pressed Azure. Yeah, it's beautiful. Awesome. I like GCP.
Cool. My main project. Hopefully, if it's something container registry, okay. I was gonna say that if I get something from Kubernetes, I might have to first deploy a Kubernetes cluster, GKE or whatever, and then to do the charge. But yeah, this is the next video. Cool. Thank you. See you in the next one. Bye.